Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Happy solstice. I am Tamara Jean, your soul architect and wellness astrologer here on High Vibe TV. Oh my goodness, this energy, there's just so much happening. First I would like to go into just like the energetic landscape of this gateway or portal. Just the current energy that we have at the moment is really diving into our soul remembrance. There's so much, of course, with the astrological landscape, and that is assisting us with a dissolving of the external and, let's say, false scaffolding of our inner architecture, and allowing us to really tune into what remains and that true original soul blueprint and architecture. We're having that assistance with Saturn Neptune still in gate 25 in the self-center in the current human design transit in that gate of innocence. And so that Saturn, I feel, is holding quite strong, and then having Neptune dissolve all around it it's like I see Saturn as this like very strong kind of rigid structure, and then Neptune's like the water energy of Neptune kind of dissolving what is no longer aligned, and continuing to assist in the release of false identity, false light overlays, inverted overlays, false light matrices. This is happening at the individual level as well as the collective level. And I am guided to talk about all of these very, these high frequency light codes, solar codes that are flooding into our field and very concentrated in particular areas of the world, of the planet, one being the Middle East. And because it is, there's a lot of the inversion and corrupted overlays and so on and so forth. And so there's deep cleansing and healing needed in that particular area. So the flooding of the solar codes of original source light creation, going very deep into these areas. And so as the old gets pushed to the surface, and being that it is going to be exiting, can come out quite violently as it tries to hang on, as we have experienced. And I, for some reason, needed to weave that into the information that I am bringing through for you on this solstice. And perhaps it is because it is such a powerful turning point, right? We use these times of the year for definite reflection as far as the solstice, and reflecting in the last 6 months, the first 6 months of this year. And so there is more of an inward reflection when it comes to that, and just even deeper with that soul remembrance theme of this energy. The sun has now joined Jupiter in the self-center in gate 15 of extremes. So there's, illumination of this expansion that is happening, and it is being the gate of extremes, right? It is that full spectrum of the light and the dark, right? Stillness and momentum. And it's amplifying this rhythm, right? And purpose of helping us. We're like, oh, because that gate of extreme, there is that sense of adventure with that. And it is all about, especially people that have this gate of going out and experiencing things and then to report back, like the findings. And are we to, yes, go that direction or have that experience, or the opposite? No, don't do that. Don't do it that way. So there's just this really, can you stretch wide enough? Because a lot of the codes coming in also are heart portal codes, and those are codes of holy compassion. And so, and there's like a sacred remembrance and also the sacred union, but this is the divine union within oneself, like your divine spirit and divine love union within you with soul. And so that's what this frequency is really asking. And being that currently, as I'm filming, the sun is still at 29 degrees Gemini, at the threshold of moving into Cancer. So there's another energetic aspect having us go from like the mental body and softening into the nourishment, right? Viewing and experiencing all of this through the nourishment of the heart, and right, and softening, and it's returning to the wisdom of the heart. And thankfully, the earth is grounding all of this energy in gate 10, which is a direct reminder, being the gate of self-love. And right, you are the structure, you're the architect of your next timeline. And as we are making this transition, right, individually it varies, but collectively there is a transition between crystalline to the diamond frequency, right? A lot is still happening. There's a lot of repair with the crystalline structure and grid, and then being able to transition into the diamond frequency and upgrading to that really becomes like the command center. But all of this coming from right, it has to be built in reverence of self-recognition. So that is a whole theme with the energy of this Solstice Gateway. I really see it being quite intense for the next 72 hours. And with the transits, with, being filtered through that Saturn and Neptune conjunction, that there is this where we expand, right? Not from illusion, not from urgency, that we're continuing to stand very strong in our sovereignty as things that are misaligned, right? That are these false layers, false light layers, and these inversions as they fall away. And it gets pretty tender with the moon still conjunct Chiron, with the emotions, and especially around like self-worth and visibility, our voice, all of those old wounds being ready to be released. And so there is this opportunity, right? Allowing vulnerability to be the doorway to your soul's truth, and that sovereignty to be, this is a sacred witnessing of, let's say, the real you. and being that, you know, you're really at your strongest when you are raw and vulnerable. That shows, you know, real strength. And especially stuff that may be coming up because these codes and these frequencies are getting in at such deep levels in our subconscious, and then collectively getting really deep into the roots, and, you know, energetically, emotionally, and on that threshold of mental to emotional, and physically as well in the planet, and on physical places on the earth where this is like very concentrated. So to breathe deep, right? These waves, solstice waves, began streaming in at this level, I would say about 3 days ago, and will continue most intensely for the next 72 hours. And then I just see this steady stream through to the new moon. And as they're continuing to dissolve this built up false light matrix and overlay that has been around the planet, keeping Earth a prison planet, right? Like the Earth being enslaved, as well as those of us residing on her. So this is a huge shifting point, right? It's not just a seasonal shift of this solstice. This is a soul anchoring. And so just let that sit for a minute and really take that in, because it's happening, right? There's no there is no stopping it. Not that we would want to, when we know that even though the messiness, right, which Jupiter is quite amplifying and being in that gate of extremes with the sun now, right, but it also lends that magnificence of being alive right now, of such massive change, and where we are at in our ascension process journey. So just like breathe deep with this energy that we have right now. Apologize I couldn't get this out earlier. Definitely a busy day. Oh, I love it. Okay. Oh, a couple cards came out. So the top card here is Heart of Source. And that's the truth, isn't it? That is what is coming through. All-encompassing love, unconditional acceptance, and serenity. And so in tuning inward, and this reminds me, actually, this image reminds me of the higher portals in my restructured diamond system, portal system. Sorry, I have this tickle in my throat. It's been quite windy here today. Lots of pollen flying around. And so this reminds me of the higher portal. It reminds me of the spirit portal, which is that bridge of your identity. And so, and it is like these colors. And it is that interface with source, with the divine, with divine consciousness, divine unconditional love, and allowing that to stream in. Now, this is your 10th portal. So, allowing that to stream in through that portal and continue down. You know, you can visualize these colors streaming in straight from source. This is Self-Healing Collective's newest video, and it is encoded with 432 hertz, which I felt was perfect, being that it is that it balances. And I love the imagery, of course. They always have such beautiful imagery and words. And I love the tree, and let's see, we've got the Merkaba, and there's just there's so much going on there. But it really reflects, and I like the rainbow being like all of the energy of all of the divine rays of light, like streaming in. And you know, there's so much interweaving, there's like a lot of grid work here, and it's like a return. So you have these people here, these figures coming together, so it's like a return to ourselves. And that's what all of the energetic landscape and the frequencies and codes are supporting and assisting us in. Let's see what the card is behind it. Ooh, Chamber of the Violet Flame. So karmic release and radical transformation. Isn't that the truth? So in calling on the violet flame and using that to assist you in dissolving all of those, it is massive karmic release still happening. A lot of the layers that have, let's say, like the corrupted layers, distorted, all of that, a lot of the layers have come through lineage, like lifetime after lifetime. And now it's time to, there's a lot in the release of these inherited codes, distorted codes. So whether it is, you know, scarcity or lack, those kinds of frequencies that we inherited, there's all of these cycles, and you know, we're on the precipice too of Uranus moving into Gemini, so that 7-year cycle, right, is coming to a close in the next couple weeks. I think it's July 7th, 8th time frame. So, and let's see what essential oils can assist us with this solstice energy. Yeah, if you have not been sleeping too well, you're not alone. Definitely the 3 o'clock hour has been, I'm not calling it the magic hour, but that is definitely the time getting awakened, and perhaps several times a night being awakened. You know, we're really traveling, doing a lot of work, and this also contributes to the not remembering so much when you awaken. Basil. So basil will help because it is the oil of renewal. And it's also inspiration, as it says on here. And so this really helps in, like, when you're feeling tired, you can put it, especially mentally, your adrenals, put it right on your adrenals. It's going to help a bit of restorative. It has restorative aspects. And rosemary, I love that too, because I love eating those herbs. Rosemary with wisdom, and it is the oil of transition and like higher knowledge, and helping to trust that higher power, right? Trust the divine that is so far beyond our mortal comprehension, and to really help and facilitate in this great transition, because this oil is helping with change and transition and trusting in that higher knowing, that wisdom. So like, right, trusting soul, like putting the basil on, like getting a restorative aspect, and just kind of settling into your knowing, and then trusting in yourself and in the divine, trusting soul, right? And you'll feel this energy if you tune into the source energy that is streaming in through that spirit portal. And, you know, just imagine that and sense that energy there, and that it is streaming in and pouring into your field. And rosemary helps too in seeing the bigger picture. So as we reflect, of course, over these last 6 months, and where you are now, who you are now, and right, and then preparing for the next 6 months as you know, so many more planetary bodies going retrograde, and right, so, and you know, transit significant energies that are going to be taking place in the next 6 months. But remember, it's all preparation in this massive transition of grid structure, your soul architecture. So there's a lot that is being worked with. And so that's why in what I do, that I have returned to the title of Soul Architect, is that truly is my expression, and guiding people with through all my mentorships of Divine Diamond, Divine Mastery, and now the Diamond Path Beyond the Crown. So you can go onto my website and check those out if you like, if any of that resonates with you. Happy solstice, golden love and blessings to all of you, and I will be back here on Tuesday.